welcome everyone, and welcome to this session. I'm your host, Laurent Briden, and let's go straight into it. First, we're gonna have Ben.
Hi, my name is Ben Johnson. I manage the video production team at HP and their customer support organization.
Great, and then we have Peter.
Hi, my name is Peter Bozanov. I'm the director of video and editorial at the Weather Network.
All right, and lastly, we have Scott.
Hey, I'm Scott Salick. I'm the Vice President of Global Content at Youngevity, a direct selling company. And basically that means I do all of the video for all of our markets throughout the world.
Perfect. Thank you guys for joining us. Really excited to have you all on here, sharing your insights with the rest of the audience out there on Play TV. So I'm going to ask the first question is really, how do you use NewSpark and Brightcove as a joint solution? What benefits are you seeing? So let's start maybe with Peter on how you're using UGC or digital workflows within the organization.
Yeah, so for video for us is such a big part of our business because we're a cross-platform industry on television, on digital, on social, and we're actually targeting 1 billion video views next year. So video content across our platforms is really big in terms of our business. And UGC plays a huge role in that, in particular, active weather. So we have a first-to-market experience on our app where we live stream active weather, and user-generated content plays a role in that storytelling to keep people safe. So when there's a tornado that's on the ground, users are able to share that image and video immediately so we can tell our users and viewers across all our platforms what's happening in real time.
Perfect. You doing anything similar, Scott?
So what we use NewSpark for is user-generated content is like our bread and butter because one of our main products is weight loss. Testimonials drive weight loss. So what NewSpark has allowed us to do is like get tons of user-generated content, testimonials, because we do a 0, 30, 60, and 90-day testimonial to prove that people have made it through the whole weight loss challenge. It makes it really easy for us to manage those. And the other issue for us is we have to look at every single one of them. So we can have a lot of different people virtually logging into the system and reviewing them. We have problems with claims and other things, including what people are wearing in our testimonials. So we have to be really careful for that. The FTC looks at all of our claims really closely. Cool thing about NewSpark is it allows us to look at all the content and then approve it before it gets pushed into the edit cycle. So the bad stuff never even makes it into the edit cycle.
Cool.
Well, and for me, it's a little different. I think on the HP side, what we're using videos for is we're using videos for training, for teaching people how to do things in a support scenario, as well as some internal stuff. But part of the UGC comes in because you get a lot of content that comes from a lot of different people, and you want to make sure that as that content comes in, that you're ensuring that the material they're providing isn't copyrighted by somebody else, that the material is appropriate, and that you're allowing these people coming into your tools to be able to have the access they need to give you the files without creating some problems. But on top of that, for us, what NewSpark is doing is allowing us the ability to be able to take a lot of this content from a lot of different places, and our tools are kind of scattered, and we have some people scattered around the world. So trying to automate some of that process where we have maybe a team in India that does the publishing of our videos for us. And so as we get to that point where the videos are ready to publish, we're using NewSpark as a place for those video files to land, where they can be previewed. We can check the UGC stuff to make sure that we're not at risk for copyrights or other things. And then we can take those videos, add that metadata. And as you build that metadata, that's kind of key because the videos have a life cycle of 6, 8 years, and then beyond, depending on how long people want to be able to continue to access that content. Maybe when their warranty's expired and they want to be able to solve their own problems. But at that point, then is making sure that you get all that content with the tags in the right place. And so NewSpark really helps us with that. And in the case of our most recent implementation, what we did is we had about 5 people that are doing that publishing, and we've been able to cut that down to about 2 people by using this automated process in NewSpark, where we have the videos uploaded in one place, and then they're tagged in our content management system. They're tagged in YouTube, they're tagged in Brightcove, or wherever else we publish those videos to.
I was just going to say that at the Weather Network, we get a lot of UGC, upwards of 160,000 uploads of video and photos. So to curate that much of content, we really leverage NewSpark to really help filter, organize, so it makes it really easy to search. And we've got functionality within our social media accounts where we have over 3 million followers, so that our chatbot on Facebook, as an example, actually redirects the users when they upload an image on Facebook directly to NewSpark, so that we have automatic access and rights to use that content. So rights management is really important for us at the Weather Network. And because of the volume of content, and because it's multilingual as well, so we do weather in English and French and in Spanish as well. So there's a lot of content, multilingual, multi-platform. So leveraging NewSpark Media is a big part of our workflow and organization.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is that, kind of an indication of a technology that works well is when people in other departments see it being used and then ask, hey, can I do that? And the great thing about NewSpark is that you can just roll out these little widgets. You don't have to have any coders get involved or anything like that, because we're a department of 2, and then we use lots of freelancers. So we just roll out a widget for whatever purpose it is, set the tags up in it so it auto tags, and then we're able to collect content within literally 10 minutes.
I think having those tools that can really help automate that process are really important, right? Because just trying to make sure you got the people in place to be able to do all the work. We're always going to be looking at ways to be able to reduce costs, and if we can automate some of that, that's always going to make it better. In our case, with some of this, we also have huge batches come in, right? So if we have 200-300 videos come in a batch, and it takes say a couple hours to be able to publish each of those, having a tool that can do all that for us means that we don't have that backlog, and we can get stuff out a lot faster.
Peter, you talked about localization or multi-languages. You're also talking about that, Ben, a little bit, with all the different accounts that you have. How important really is it to have metadata that is localized for some languages versus not, and how do you manage that? Because you have many different platforms, Ben, right? You have a digital asset management system, you have Brightcove, you have YouTube. So is the metadata going to be the same for all 3 of them? Or is it going to be a little mix of both of unique per platform, per distribution platform versus, as a standard for all?
It's a bit of a mix, right? Because you've got the title and the description have to be in that local language for people to be able to know, what they're looking at. Then you've got the keywords, right? The keywords have a huge impact on SEO, and so you got to make sure you get those keywords tuned for a local audience. But then you've got a lot of things that are in common. So you've got, in our case, I've got products associated with videos. I've got maybe disclosure level. I've got different tags that help us feed downstream publishers in the future. And then again, having something that can automate that, where I can enter it once for each language, and then have all the tags entered once, but then it populates to all the different localized versions, saves us an enormous amount of time.
Are you using the API at all, Ben? Or because I know Peter, you are using the API for the weather channel, but are you doing any of that, Ben, on your side?
So when we use the API, that's where we're using NewSpark, right? Where NewSpark is pushing the content to those destinations using an API. Yeah.
Great. And Scott, are you all out of the box, or do you have web developer?
Out of the box, all out of the box. Yeah, and with the everybody is working in different languages. We do 9 or 10 different languages, and when the screeners screen it, they tag what the language is, and then it goes into a bucket where people from the local markets can make sure they're compliant. Also, the tagging allows us to divide the video clips up by market segments, whether they're what we call a distributor or a customer or a prospect.
I think your workflow is a little bit different, Scott, than Ben, because I know, Ben, when your videos come in, you just publish it to whatever platforms automatically. But from Scott, you have to download all of them, re-edit them, put it into your workflow, right?
Yeah, so what happens is they get screened and tagged. And once they're screened and tagged, then the editors, wherever they are in the world, can download those clips and then edit them into whether it's a promotional piece or a sales piece, or just a feature on one of the people in one of the weight loss people. Because we also run contests, so we use a lot of that stuff in the contests. Lose the most weight in a month, and called it's basically like a 90-day challenge.
Are you doing the same thing, Peter? Are you downloading all those files and then republishing them to different platforms, or re-editing them into a program?
Yeah, so our workflow is quite complex to meet the needs of all the different platforms, including linear television. So NewSpark works directly with Brightcove, which works directly with our asset management system, and then our video server on television as an example. There's an upload function on our desktop and our mobile app, so users can upload videos and photos directly, which then gets into NewSpark. It's moderated, and once approved, and then it gets funneled into our asset management system and through Brightcove. So there's a multi-step process, but it's very fluid, and there's a lot of good check marks along the way to ensure that A, the content's approved, and B, the metadata, as Ben was mentioning, is super important in terms of tagging for different purposes, including SEO, but also localized video content. So because we have pinpoint accuracy localized across the country in Canada and also globally, we're able to target videos to different communities to make it really local and relevant. As an example, in this coronavirus situation, we've leveraged our UGC to help tell stories and have a little bit of levity during a difficult moment, launching a backyard weather forecast. So we've asked our users to present the weather forecast from their backyard. And then that content is uploaded through NewSpark, approved, and then sent through the system where we share it across all our platforms.
Wow, that's a lot of different platforms and systems that I'm hearing. So I guess you need some sort of modularity, right? And now you establish your tech stack that is ever changing. I mean, I know a thing or two because, working at Cisco, working with implementation across those platforms, different platforms change all the time, right? From one way or another. So you can always plan to deploy using one set of a technology platform ecosystem that you have at that point in time. But by the time you're ready to implement, something's changing. How big is that modularity when you take a look at an overall solution for your specific workflows for your organizations?
So from our end, because technology changes so rapidly, you want to be able to scale up as you need it, as your audiences grow and expand, and as needs change. So for us, we're launching new brands, we're launching new platforms. It's not just our legacy product, but there's new platforms launching all the time. So you need a system that's modular and able to scale as you change and adapt to the business. And so far, we've been doing really well in that regard.
I'd second that. I think there's a lot of what we do that's very similar, where you have to plan for that future, because the technology changes so fast. If you're not planning for the future, you're planning to fail, right? You're planning to get yourself painted into a corner. And so it's always one of those things you have to have in the back of your mind as you're implementing any of these things, thinking about, hey, if this tool went away, how would I replace that with something else? What are the options in there? Ensuring that you've got metadata that has that in mind. As part of that tagging as well, right? In our case, one of the things that we have for every single video we produce everywhere is some unique ID that will carry through, whatever tool we're using. There's that ID that will tie back to one file, so we know what it is.
Yeah. And we just have to be flexible all the time because we're super low corporate staff, and we have to work with a lot of different freelancers. And the system has to be easy to work with. That's when I'm looking at technology, I look, okay, how long is it going to last for? But how much time do I have to spend teaching someone? I want to spend as little as possible.
I like that you mentioned freelancers, because for us, we're starting to work a little bit more with freelancers, and that gets into that whole thing where when you have people that are coming in that you maybe have a short-term relationship with them, or dealing with them very quickly. You don't want to have to go through that training. You don't have to do that training every time you bring somebody else on board. You want them to be able to just take that content, put it in a system, and also protect the rest of your assets, right? For somebody that you're not going to work with on a regular basis, it doesn't make sense to put them, through the process to get them in all your tools, but you can get those files and then, quickly move on from there.
Yeah, our freelancers are our users in many cases. So when there's active weather happening across the country, we can't really send reporters out everywhere in a country the size of Canada. So we really leverage our users, and they're our freelancers. So ease of use, functionality to upload is super important. And then when it gets to the system, easy to curate, easy to optimize, easy to filter. And so far, we've been really happy with the workflow and the platform.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, I don't know how long you've been using this service, but I want to say many, many years. And then we have Ben here that's just starting to use it. So yeah, I love that we have a nice little variety here in different types of customers, joint customers that we have that are using us for direct sales, high tech, or customer success videos, publishing or media, and at different stages as well in the adoption or the complexity, right? From hearing you from Scott, right? Like you're really just getting started. You're trying to get the ball rolling. You have some content going, but not as much content as what Peter is going through.
Right.
With
I want to be like those guys when I grow up.
There you go. Well, again, thank you guys so much for contributing your insights here for this Play TV segment. Really appreciate it. If any viewers out there want to reach out, contact those guys. They know what they're doing it. They're practitioners in that space, and definitely share information. We're here to really just help our customers learn from each other here. So thank you for your time, and then we'll see you online.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.